Hello, I'm Brian Fox. This is my channel. I hate rock music, but I love rock music. Let's make that clear. And so in my 20-part series of amazing Seattle bands, or great Seattle bands that most people have never heard of, the band POTHEAD, and they're actually still around. Interestingly enough, they started here in Seattle, and then by the middle 90s, they moved to Berlin, and they stayed there, and they're still making records. But I'm going to focus in on their beginnings here in Seattle. They came out in 1991, and it was Jeff Moore and Kelly Johnson from a group called East and West. And I actually have a YouTube video to post by East and West. They were a really pretty cool band, but then Brad Koch, Son of Man, hooked up with those guys, and they became Pothead. And Pothead is kind of close to me because I ended up forming a band in 1998 or so, or actually about 1997, called Bumblebeast, and it featured drummer Greg Gilmore, of course, from Chubby Children and Mother Love Bone, and this amazing guitar player, Rick DeChurch. He'd been in Soar Jackson and played with Kristen Berry. And Greg Gilmore, as everyone knows, is an incredible drummer. And Rick DeChurch is an amazing guitar player. And they actually hooked up with Pothead and toured Europe. And I talked to Greg Gilmore about it, and he said those were some of the best moments he ever had playing live with this Pothead lineup going through Europe. And so that basic lineup, as I said, they moved there from Seattle, thought they would just stay there and play for a while. And they ended up staying there, and they're still producing records out of Berlin 31 years later. And again, they're one of those bands that kind of came out of the grunge scene, and they're definitely their earliest music from the 90s has couldn't qualify as grunge, but they had their own thing, the usual thing: a great rhythm section, a really cool singer, a really cool guitar player, and interesting complex arrangements. And you know, the proof is in the pudding. I'll post some below. Apparently a lot of people know about Pothead now, but they were a great band here in Seattle, and they played around a lot. And of course, as I pointed out too, they have connections with all sorts of other great local bands like Son of Man and East and West, and even Blind Horse. So once again, you see these family trees with all these different members floating around in different bands, and it's always so cool that a lot of these bands were all really good. And so when they switched members around, there's a lot of talent and a lot of abilities to go around to a lot of these bands. And Pothead were one of my favorites. I wish I had some recordings of their live tour in Europe with Greg Gilmore and Rick DeChurch, because with that material and those guys playing on it, it would really kick it up a notch. And as Greg Gilmore told me, they really did a lot of improvisation and really played a lot of great music, and one of the best times in his lives. And so when he says that, I definitely got to listen. So unfortunately, I don't have any tapes of that material. But Pothead, another great Seattle band that most people have never heard of, probably have a little more higher profile than a lot of the bands I talk about, because they managed to put out a couple albums while they're here in Seattle, and then moved to Berlin, and they've been making records ever since. Of course, a lot of people now think they're probably a German band, but nope, they're from Seattle. Pothead. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching I Hate Rock Music.